I was big into whitewater kayaking and traveled the country a bit doing that. And then eventually got a job as a design assistant, ironically, with a manufacturer. And so we would bring in molds and do a lot of shaping, kind of the same things we do with a golf course, just on a micro level. So we'd take a piece of foam, like a square block of foam, and we would take that all the way from foam to fiberglass molds to prototyping to actual product that was out there. And a lot of that just had to do, just like on a golf course, just water, learning how, stuff went across a form, bringing it into form. The same thing, the reality, like, okay, this is my idea, but the practicality of, well, how do we execute it? How do we get it out of a mold? And I think a golf course, you do some of the same things. It's like, well, here's the idea, but how do we actually go in and execute that? So you have just learned a lot about design compromises and whatnot. And then, I don't know, kayaking was the same as golf to me too, that you're just looking at lines, you're trying to visualize a line in your head and then make that line happen. Just in a boat, you're the ball, and a golf, you're hitting the ball.
Yeah.
But then Dad was managing some courses. I'd went back to school and got my finance degree, and I was working at nights for an event company in college, and enjoyed that. We ran a lot of really exclusive big events, and never thought that would come back to serve, but it's proven to, with the running golf events and whatnot. I mean, I'll have, little cotillion type ladies come up and they have a meeting for me with they want to do their wedding out there, and they asked for Ashley and said they had a meeting with her. And I said, well, let me go get her and stuff like that. And I'll be on a tractor all greasy. And then they wonder how the hell I know what a Chiavari chair is or something. And they're just completely confused. So it all kind of was a culmination, I guess, of they came back together. And so when Dad took me down to the fields, I was reluctant. I was like, I don't know if we want to do this. LaGrange, it's in the middle of nowhere. And we started going back and forth. They're managing a few other courses. And then I just kind of fell in love with the place and started polishing it up. And then all that stuff kind of came back to me full circle.
And it's cool to hear that you have that design background elsewhere, because talking to you guys a couple weeks ago, you're kind of designing a different, aside from the golf course, there's a whole lot there just in the golf course. But Ashley, you were talking about some plans to update the facilities, to kind of design a different golf experience than maybe the market has today. Tell us a little bit about those designs and what you guys have in the works for the fields.
I guess it's kind of like a renovation of sorts, but yeah, same thing. Just seeing all the places where people have gone wrong, like what's going on with the industry. And it's I guess it's one thing to have a blank canvas or a blank piece of dirt to work with, but then we got there. The one thing we didn't design was the clubhouse facility, and it was kind of too big for what we needed, inefficient, not really well built in some areas. And so we were trying to figure out what to do with the space. If it had been up to us, it probably would have been a much smaller, different kind of place, but we had it was there. So getting to kind of live in it for 5 years when it wasn't ours and we couldn't really tear it apart, we had a lot of time to think, ran a lot of events out there. And we were kind of starting renovations last year, right before the pandemic stuff started affecting tournaments and all that kind of stuff. So we got to take a step back and say, hey, let's really think about this. So we decided to open everything up, and we're putting a lot more. I mean, none of that's too groundbreaking, but a lot more outdoor space. We're opening up the whole bar patio, and then we've had pretty good success with doing some live music out there. Both Dad got me into that as well when I was younger. He kind of exposed me pretty early, taking me to, I I think he took me in like 8th grade to see Neil Young at the Omni, and it was like my ears were ringing for 3 days after. But you know, I was hooked on live music after that, and so we've got a beautiful place out there. Just not even if you're playing golf, which is one reason I think people like the fields, because if you're a duffer or you're just going out there with your kids to have a good time, or it's just something you do to get outside, you're not in this corridor of trees and houses, and people walk around back and you're just kind of immediately you kind of just fall into the space in the landscape. And so the clubhouse sits at the top of a hill there, and we decided to just start turning that into a music venue as well. But people like yourself have been super helpful, and people that get it, that are coming out there for other reasons. And so we're trying to just embrace that side of it and make it way more laid back and relaxed, in a place you want to hang out and have some fun. It doesn't have so many rules.
Yeah, it's certainly a movement in a way, right, for the game. And I think what's been interesting from where I sit is that the people that do want that laid back, open air, live music, they want all these things that they still respect the traditions of golf, and they're actually coming from that world. A lot of them, like myself, grew up at country clubs and tucking their shirt every time they play. And, it's just this appetite, I think, for authenticity in a way. And that's what I think of when I hear about, places like the fields, is authenticity, because it was built that way, and, but you probably see all kinds coming through, right? I mean, the fields doesn't just appeal to the golf heads out there. It's beginners.
There's all kinds, for sure. And I think if we chase the country club thing, or we chase just being known for it being, we didn't have the funds to chase that. It didn't make sense business wise. And two, it was just going to get lost in being the same thing. So we haven't tried to use it as an excuse either to let go on the conditioning side. We try to keep the course for what it is, in very good shape. The greens are way above par most of the season. So we still get it on that end, but we try to, let our hair down, so to speak, on in other aspects. And, but yeah, there's all walks of life out there. We've got some members at Peachtree that play, a couple of them that, there's a guy I was talking to one day on 10, and he's like, yeah, I love playing here. I'm only a member at 2 places. And it was Peachtree and Dornick. And he was I don't know, I won't go into exactly who he was. He might not appreciate that, but he comes down from Atlanta. His mom's got a place down there. And, but yeah, I mean, and then we've got, just yesterday, a friend that owns a restaurant in town came out with her little girl and her husband, and been wanting to check it out, and didn't even have clubs. So I just gave him my personal set of clubs and put together some other rentals for him. And they went out, and it's the first time they've ever been out there. So you get everything in between. Alan Doyle plays out there about 4 days a week. I mean, he was, kind of honed his game out there before he went pro. So we definitely get all walks of life out there playing, and it's probably not for everybody, but I mean, that's probably where you get lost trying to make it for everybody.
Yeah. Mike, take us back to the decision to purchase the fields and become the owner. Was that, it being your first build, and you've built plenty of golf courses since then, and been a part of many projects. Was it an emotional decision at all? Kind of the nostalgia of, man, this is my first go. This is my first project that's Own It. Would you say that emotion played in it at all?
I knew that it was, if we could get it at the right deal, that it was where it would fit and you could make it work, because it was not lined with homes or houses or any of that. And I knew that Ashley, once he got down there, he'd put a lot of effort into it. So we both knew that if we, worst case, bought it and didn't like it, we could probably sell it for more than we bought it for. And so it was emotional, but I'm sort of trying to steer it a little and then get out of the way and just let the younger, let Ashley and his age group all go with it. And